notice, and this is the typical copyright. We continue with mathematics syllabus for CSEC 2018 to 2027. Schedule of videos, Section 1, Number Theory and Computation, 33 videos, and all of those have already been published on YouTube in their entirety. Section 2, Consumer Arithmetic, that is what I am working on right now. Then, November 2024, sets, December 2024, measurements, January 2025, statistics, February 2025, algebra, March 2025, relations, functions and graphs, April 2025, geometry and trigonometry, and finally by May 2025, mid-May, vectors and matrices, and that will take care of all the objectives in this syllabus. Just a reminder that I have divided section 1 into 33 videos, and all of those have already been published in their entirety on YouTube. This section, that is section 1, forms the foundation on which the rest of the syllabus is based. How well you can handle this section will predict how well you will be able to do with the rest of the syllabus. So please look at those 33 videos from section 1. Make sure you know them well if you intend to continue doing the rest of the math syllabus. For section 2, we have those 10 videos already published on YouTube. We are now here, video 11, 210B, rates and taxes, invoices and shopping bills. All videos from sections 1 and 2 will be available on YouTube in their entirety. When it comes to section 3 and the rest of the syllabus, those will not all be available on YouTube in their entirety. So as I said, completed that, which was the last video I did. Now we are here, rates and taxes, and invoices and shopping bills. Now note that CSEC did not give any explanatory notes on these items here, so I don't know how much details, so I don't know how in-depth I should go with these. So what we will do, we will play it by ear. You may even have more than is needed for CSEC. However, if you understand the principles involved, then any question that CSEC asks on these topics, you should be able to answer them. So what is rates and taxes? Now notice I didn't say what are rates and taxes. First of all, what it is not. Rates and taxes is not two things. It is considered as one item in business. And it is not the normal taxes like income tax or capital gains tax and so on. It is not the regular tax. It's like local taxes applied to a very small geographical area. What is it? Taxes and rates means all rates, assessments, levies, and other charges payable in connection with the premises, building and land, and all taxes, including land tax, on the basis that the land is the only land owned by the landlord, but excluding landlord's income tax and capital gains. Now, if you own or lease a property, as in land and building, a duly appointed organization normally charges you for the services provided in order that your use of the property is enhanced. This is just for your information. You don't need to learn this definition for CSEC math. Now, you may have to learn that for CSEC principles of business, or even something to do with accounting, but not for math. Examples of rates and taxes. Now, for freestanding property, I think that explains itself. You will be charged monthly for municipal rates and taxes. This charge covers the services provided by your local municipality, such as sewerage facilities, roads maintenance, street light maintenance, and refuse collection. For a sectional title property, that means it's part of a larger complex, like a flat or a condominium. You will be charged levies. These are the costs involved in running the complex. It includes municipal rates and taxes, limited building insurance coverage, repairs, and maintenance. So when we are talking about rates and taxes, these are the things we are talking about. And again, you don't need to learn these for CSEC math. You will be given a published list of the various rates and taxes and a specific situation. Apply the specific situation to the published list of rates and taxes. It's really common sense. So let's look at an example of a published list of rates and taxes. This may be too small, so let's make it a little larger. So as you could see, the city, locality, rates and taxes monthly. Down here you have the services rendered for freestanding buildings and for sectional property, like a flat or a condo. So you have sewerage charge, depending on the size of the room or the flat, you have different charges. Road maintenance, whether you have one car or two or more cars. For freestanding homes, these are the charges, and if it's a condo, these are the charges, and so on. Street lighting, everybody pays that. Refuse collection, garbage collection, everybody pays that, though it varies. Security, that is not paid for freestanding home, but in the case of a sectional home, like a condo, you have to pay security. Building insurance, again, not applicable for freestanding homes, but it is applicable to a flat. Repair maintenance, not applicable to freestanding homes, but it is applicable to a flat. Fire emergency, applicable to everybody, whether it's freestanding home or a flat. So once you understand that, as I said, it really is common sense. Let's consider two situations, and we will be dealing with this same city. Of course, you do understand that different places will have different rates and taxes, and they may have different things that they have here for services. So, example one, Mr. R. Jules owns a two-bedroom second floor condo and a car in Melville City, Moraga. Calculate his monthly rates and taxes. So let's see. Let's put a plus here to find out what are the things that he would have to pay for. It's a 2-bedroom, so he pays this rate for sewage. He has one car, so he pays that for the one car. Street lighting, of course, he has to pay for that. $3. Refuse collection, garbage collection, yes. Security for flat, yes. He has to pay for that. Building insurance, yes. He has to pay for that. Repairs and maintenance, yes. And then fire emergency services, because this is second floor. From the third floor and lower, it is this rate. So those are the things you would have to pay for in rates and taxes. So now we will actually calculate it. Sewage, 2-bedroom, yes, $6. Maintenance, road maintenance, one car, yes, $8. Street lighting per flat, yes, $3. Per flat. Refuse collection, $9. Security, $21.50. That's this over here. Building insurance, $34.75. This over here. Repairs and maintenance per flat, $35.90, which is this down here. And then emergency fire service, 3 floors or lower, and he is at the second floor. So we already said that will be $45. So the total rates and taxes to live in this city in a condo is $163.15. As I said, it's really common sense. Let's look at the second example. Same city, rates and taxes. Mr. K. Roberts owns a 4-bedroom freestanding house and 2 cars in Melville City, Moraga. Calculate his monthly rates and taxes as charged by this city. So let's see. It is freestanding, so we don't have to bother about this section here. It's a 4-bedroom house, so sewage is $12. He has 2 cars, so we are dealing with this here. $9 for road maintenance. Lighting, street lighting, yes, $4 per home. Refuse collection, yes, $6.50 per home. Security, not applicable. He has to pay for his own security. Building insurance, he has to pay that separately. Repairs and maintenance, that's his business. Emergency fire service, it's a 4-bedroom house, so that will be $35. So now let's put that together. Freestanding, sewage for 3-bedroom, that would be $12. Road maintenance, 2 cars, that will be $9. Street lighting per home, that is $4. That's this. Refuse collection, For home, $650. Security, not applicable. Building insurance, not applicable. Repairs and maintenance, not applicable. Now, these three will be paid separately by Mr. Roberts, and it does not concern right now the city. 3-bedroom home for fire emergency services, that's down here, $35. And so Mr. Roberts' rates and taxes to the city is $66.50. It's common sense and fairly easy to understand. Now, if you find this video useful and interesting, please like and share. Like and share. You may also consider subscribing to this channel. After all, it doesn't cost you anything, and it means a lot to me. So now we continue. We are now dealing with Part C. We already dealt with rates and taxes. So we will now deal with invoices and shopping bills. Again, this is fairly simple. So we are now dealing with invoices and shopping bills. So what is an invoice? It is a time-stamped commercial document that itemizes and records a transaction between a buyer and a seller. If goods or services were purchased on credit, the invoice usually specifies the terms of the deal and provides information on the available payment methods. Types of invoices may include paper receipt. Note that, because later on we'll find that that confuses the situation. Bill of sale, debit note, and sale invoice, or an online electronic record. So there are various types of invoices. An invoice is directed from the seller to the buyer. So if you are selling me a set of things, you would send me an invoice and say what they cost and so on. So an invoice is sent from the seller to the buyer. Now, this is just for your information. You don't need to know this for CSEC math, maybe principles of business, but not math. What is a shopping bill? A bill states the due amount to be paid by a customer to the supplier. When a business sends an invoice, like what we were just talking about, to a customer, the customer has to input that invoice information in the form of a bill in their system. So a bill is created before payments are made. It is essentially the same thing as an invoice, except it has now been adapted to the customer. A bill is very similar to an invoice, so you don't need to know that definition for CSEC math. What is a receipt? A receipt is a confirmation of a payment. This document confirms a customer has received the goods or services. A customer can use a receipt as proof of completed payment for goods and services. Now, a copy of the invoice is sent back to the seller along with payment. But this invoice now becomes a bill. The seller then issues the buyer with a receipt of payment. So first, the seller sends an invoice. The buyer converts that invoice into a bill, sends back the bill with the payment, and then the seller sends a copy of that bill acknowledging payment with a receipt. So I am stressing again, you don't need to know these definitions for CSEC math. Maybe if you are doing POB, you will have to learn them. Now, very often, the distinction among these three, what is an invoice, what is a shopping bill, and what is a receipt, can become blurred, but that is not our concern here in this math class. Because sometimes you ask for a printed receipt and it looks like a bill or an invoice saying that payment has been made. So those three things could be confusing. A typical example of a receipt which would normally be thermal printed, this one is not. Now, this is a receipt that I received when I paid my electricity bill some time ago. So those are the details. It was for this amount. I actually paid that because I paid at a kiosk where you don't get back change. And so it says here credit balance 1434, which goes over to the next month, and so on. Now, normally if you pay at a kiosk or by some supermarkets and so on, you get a thermally printed receipt, and I will show you one of that just now. You can also ask for it to be emailed to you. This is the email, that is why it is so clear. Or to send by SMS. I normally take all three. And this is the one that was emailed to me. As I said, some details have been removed for security reasons. Now here is a copy of the normal thermally printed receipt that you get at supermarkets and even at that kiosk where I paid the electricity bill. You will notice that it is not very clear and it fades away within a few weeks. So if you submit something like that to the accountant of the company that you're working with, they will not accept it because it fades. You will have to send a proper receipt. You'll have to send a receipt that will not fade. So this will not be acceptable for records of the business with which you are working. If you see that a little clearer, even close up, it's not very clear. And this is the below part of that same receipt. Notice that the receipt actually looks like a bill or an invoice. It says what item, how much it costs, and the extended price and so on. And that is why I'm saying that sometimes people may confuse these three things: invoice, bill, and receipt. Very often, the distinction among these three, invoice, shopping bill, and receipt, can become blurred. But as I said, we are dealing with math here, not accounts or principles of business. We will consider one or two examples of an invoice. Keep in mind that an invoice and a shopping bill are basically the same thing. So let's look at example one. We have a hardware store here, Harry Chen and Sons, at that location, sends this invoice to Mr. Paul Richards of this address. So this is what the blank invoice will look like. You have a header here, product number, the description, quantity, unit price, and extended price. And this explains itself. So let us say the first item, the product number is that. The description is 3/8-inch smooth rebar. 34, that's the quantity, unit price, $256. So you multiply 256 by 34 and you get the extended price, which is $87 and so on. I'm not going to read out all of these. So, product number, description, quantity, unit price, extended price, and so on. Extended price. Now, on cement, there is a 15% discount. So you take that into account. 24 multiplied by that minus 15%, which is this. Then you have groove ply, 15 of those at this cost. Total cost for the plyboard. Another type of plyboard, 6 of those at a different cost, extended cost. And you have lumber, pitch pine, 16 pieces, and the dimensions are listed here. Cost, and so on. Now, subtotal, look for that line, is this. Now, this does not include VAT. So in some countries, you have to pay VAT on that. So VAT is 16%, calculate 16% of that, and it shows up here as VAT. Now, and so this invoice is for a total of $6,461.75. Now, some other companies may also have delivery costs, and many hardware companies actually deliver this stuff free of charge. So this is the final cost. That's the invoice that was sent by this hardware up here, by this hardware to Mr. Paul Richards. That's the invoice. Now, Mr. Paul Richards gets that invoice, puts it into his accounting system, and it now becomes a bill. And he would send that bill back to this hardware with payment, maybe a check, and then the hardware will acknowledge that by sending him a receipt and sending him a copy of this same thing that you see here. For them, it is an invoice. So they receive payment for the products as described by this invoice. Second example, this time R&C Computer Supplies of this address is sending an invoice to Star Electronics Repairs of that address. Again, these things follow a pattern. You have the item number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have the product number, description of that particular product, how many of that item, unit price, price for one, and then multiply those two, multiply these two, and you get the extended price. Finally, you add them all up down here. Item 1, this is the product number. The description, something to do with internal solid state drives. How many? 3. Unit price, $457. Extended price, multiply those two, and this is the cost for the hard drives. Second item, that is the product number. What is it? Laptop memory. How many of those? 8. Each one costs $94.50. Multiply those two to get the extended price, and so on. Ethernet adapter, number, unit price, extended price. Product 4, this is Wi-Fi card. 5 of those, unit price, extended price. And then finally, a desktop processor. 1 of those costs this amount, so you multiply by 1. Subtotal is this. VAT is 12% on computer parts, and that works out to be $377.34. Total which would be the sum of those two, $3,521.63. Now, this is what an invoice looks like that this computer company sends to this electronics repairs shop. Now, if this is acceptable, the repair shop will convert that into a bill. It is the same thing, but it is coming from their perspective, from the buyer's perspective. So now it is a bill. Send that bill with payment to this company. The company acknowledges it. Send back that invoice now with a receipt saying that the items were delivered and paid for. And that takes us back here. We just finished with that. Rates and taxes, invoices and shopping bills. That brings us to the end of video 10 of Objective 10 in section 2.